Hey everyone, welcome to the July 12th SIG release meeting. My name is Jeremy and I'll be the host today. Before we get started, just a reminder that this meeting is covered by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct. So in essence, just be excellent to one another and approach this meeting with positive intent. This meeting will also be recorded and available on YouTube. I see in the chat, Jason says this meeting wasn't on his calendar. Did anybody else have that problem? Is everybody here just because they know that it's the time? Okay, so Jason, you probably need to check your SIG release membership on the DL and follow up after the meeting for that, if that's cool. I dropped the agenda into the chat. If you could go ahead and add your name as an attendee, that would be super dope. If anybody would volunteer to take notes, that would also be super awesome. And with that, we can go ahead and get started. I will take notes unless anybody else is good for it. First off, we'd like to open it up to welcome any new attendees. If anybody here has never been to a SIG release meeting or it's been a while and you'd like to say hello again, I'll give you an opportunity to do so. See a lot of familiar names, but if anybody is not a reoccurring character here, go ahead and come off mute and say hello, or just say hello in the chat if you'd like. All right. With that out of the way, we will jump into sub-project updates. Nabarun, do you want to go first?
I can update from the patch releases side of things. Tomorrow we're going to do 3 patch releases of 1.22, 2.3, and 2.4. I've recently created the issues and have started the threads. Right now, trying to write a message to Google build admins to mention their availability tomorrow. And other than that, we are not doing any more releases of 1.21 because that is out of support right now. I recently noticed that the test grid still contains 1.21 jobs. Probably I'll create an action item later to remove those. And that's all on my side. I think, Veronica, if you have any updates from the branch management side for 1.25.
Not really, but other than what I told everyone last week, that Alpha 3 had a typo, and instead of July the 9th, it's supposed to be the 19th for the release cut. That has been fixed since. Yeah, that's it. And we have been approving the cherry picks successfully this round. So I'm happy about that, and that's it. I don't think I have anything else. Oh, well, probably, yeah, I don't see Borko here, but he has been doing amazing updates on the promo tools. So I would say that with Alpha 3, we will be able to use the updated tools, which is cool. That's it.
All right. Any questions for our intrepid release managers? Thanks for that update. I'm looking forward to seeing all the new patches. Next up, release team. Cece, do you want to give us an update?
Oh, thanks. For the release, we started the APAC friendly meeting since last Friday, and due to the low participant rate, so I might double confirm with the time again on today's meeting. I double checked with last time, the first APAC meeting. Seems like all participants are okay with the time, but I'm gonna double check again since we are hard this cycle because we have like both from Japan, Indian, and Europe, so it's a little bit hard to schedule the time. Yeah, I guess that's the major update for this week, and we're really looking forward to the V1 Alpha 3 card as well. Yeah, that's it.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions for the release team? All right, thank you for that update, Susie. Next up, let's jump into our open discussion items. And Lori, you have the first one, and I see you joined.
Yeah, just in time.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, hi everybody. Just a quick update. SIG release has a roadmap and we're working on it. And if you click the link in the agenda, you can see a doc where we're really working on it. There's a lot of good contributions in here. We're basically trying to take the stated priorities from the SIG release roadmap and build them out so that we know what's involved, can scope these issues appropriately to get them done, and figure out how we know what done looks like. Did we achieve the goal? All those questions that, yeah, we would put on or try to describe in a roadmap. So there is a road mapping session this Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. my time. I've done the time zones in our Slack channel for other areas, but you're all welcome to join that. It's the link is posted in the Slack channel. Oh, I asked a SIG release the lead if someone can help me put a GCal invite so that we can send out the invite that way. So if we can sync offline about that, you can get the information that way too. But this Thursday, what we'll do is focus on the first item in this doc, our old friend, moving dev RPM package builds to community infrastructure. It would really be cool if we can get that done this year. We already had one session on that a couple of weeks ago. We broke some tasks out, got some clarity on what we need to do, what are some milestones, but we will go further on that topic. And then I reached out earlier today to Adolfo to get the next item on our list, get a session for that one, the signing of release artifacts. That one's in progress. So that's good. And then there's a couple items on this roadmap that don't really have any description, KEPs, or maybe insufficient given the survey that we did recently to figure out how these items resonated with the community. So some of the items are not clear to the survey respondents. So we would need to create some documentation about what the goal is of those, especially the making cluster API first class signal and one other one.
All right.
I asked Fabrizio if he could join, but I don't see him here, so I guess he did not. But Fabrizio Pendini of Cluster API, he would like to work with SIG release on figuring out what exactly people want to do with that Cluster API item.
So I can comment quickly on this, and when we have some cluster lifecycle folks, we can do more. Essentially, this is we have a bunch of tests that are generated for Kubernetes, and the tests are regenerated kind of as we cross the boundaries between release cycles, but they are in various states of decay, really. So there are some primary tests that use like the cluster directory within Kubernetes, and that is primarily targeting GCP, right? The idea behind this was can we make it so that there's a pretext in that this is not actually a SIG release item, but the interesting thing about many things within Kubernetes is that some items have no owners or no like true SIG owners, right? So the idea is like if we can get cluster API provider variant tests running across multiple environments to make it the right signal for releases. I'll put right in quotes. But that I think some of that is dependent on whether or not people want to do it, who wants to own it, who which providers are willing to provide compute cost for this, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, I put some notes in the roadmap templating doc on that, what you just said.
That was really good context. Thank you, Stephen.
It was.
Carlos, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
So it looks like these two things orthogonal needed, like individual finding individuals that are willing to maintain it, but also you mentioned cost. Do you know like a ballpark of what the cost will be for?
I haven't done any estimation on this because again, we're not actually the owners of this. So we should, I think one of the first steps for this whole thingamajig is deciding if it's something that we actually want to do and where we're at from the time that we first wrote this down. Because maybe this is not even a need anymore.
Ah, I see. I see someone said not sure, needed more info. Two people said that.
Yeah.
Okay. Or partially, maybe. I don't know. It's up to Cluster API to have more insight into this, right? Okay. This one
it's really up to the individual test owners. So I think we are, within the release team and within release management, we are the shepherds of at least the presenting the signal.
Yeah.
Presenting the signal around release blocking, a test. So this is part of the reason that it's in our area, but it's not specifically owned by us, right? So part of this would be reaching out to individual owners of release blocking tests and kind of trying to make a determination on where their tests are at if we feel it's something that needs to be shored up.
Yeah. Okay. Looking ahead for a release problem of like, there's a test failing. We don't have an owner. We don't know what to do with the signal. It's important, not important. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
All right. Oh, now Varun, go for it.
Small question. Is there an issue for it? I don't see one link, that's why.
Probably. If it's there, it would be linked to the roadmap.
Yeah. Didn't see one.
I'll also try to find. I've been trying to find on the SIG release. But yeah, can ask this offline.
So we need to figure out if there is an issue for this, is what I'm getting at or hearing. Okay. Do you want to take an action to look for that and then create one if there's not?
I'm doing it now as well, because I think I would have put it in if there was one. I think I recall it saying kept needed.
Yeah, there's none right now, it looks like. I'll check key enhancements too, but there's nothing on the roadmap listed.
All right. So we'll follow up and create something to track this then. Any more discussion on this topic? Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
It's also the same with enhance and simplify Kubernetes version markers. There was no issue listed on the roadmap for that either.
So that one I do know has issues attached to it. I can do.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Any more on that topic? If not, then we will move to the next one. And the next one is a carryover from last week's meeting. Mohammed, do you want to, or Arnaud, do you want to take the floor for this one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead on that one. Okay, so yeah, so we've got a long-standing item where we need to start planning and executing our migration to artifact registry. So I did some scoping work, which I noted down on the gist, things that I looked at and what I think the next steps are. So it would be nice to get some approval to deploy the stuff I mentioned in the next steps. And there's also a couple of diagrams on that gist to kind of visualizes where we are and where we want to get to and the intermediary journey that we need to take.
I started pushing along in this direction a few months back.
Okay.
And it has not been, I think I can take a look at what you've, I think a lot of the stuff that is on the case infra side maybe didn't exist at the time that I was looking at this. So specifically around OCI proxy. So.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I've got a plan. I just need to find the person who owns that project to say, yeah, go ahead, deploy this, and then we'll roll the change out to a selection of the projects, monitor it and see how it goes, and then have a chat about rolling out for everybody, for all the projects that are involved. Yeah, Arnaud, do you want to add anything else to that?
Nothing very specific. I think this is related to how we fix the cost run related to the container image right now. So the first thing we need to finish is how we push the blobs of the image to the S3 bucket.
No. So we're not talking about the S3 components. We're just looking at Google Container Registry and Artifact Registry.
Yeah, so I don't think it's something we need to focus on for 125 because I think we should finish the part where we push blob images to S3, and that part is still not finished because we'll still need to modify the image process to be able to push the blob image to S3.
Okay, that's fine. There's other people working on that. I'm not involved in that work. I think I was Caleb and Jay were driving that work, but we also got to do this artifact registry at the same time. Because
not really, because that's, I mean, we can still use GCR until we finish the S3 part. Because Jay and Caleb are mainly focused on set up the infrastructure on AWS, but on the SIG release side, we need to modify the image pointer to push to S3.
Yeah, so I'll note here that I think we're starting to move into the boundary of like what should be discussed on a Gates infra call instead. Reprioritization. I do think it sounds like both are important. I think I would agree that in terms of if it's a matter of figuring out resources, the S3 one is going to be more important in my opinion. But again, I think that's definitely under the purview of Gates infra to figure out.
Yeah, I agree. It's I think the only part required for SIG release is either basically give a +1 so we can start to modify, basically start to change the image promotion process. So we need to add an extra step to push the blob images to S3.
Porca has his hand up.
Yeah, I don't know. On that front, so the last version that Jay showed up wasn't dependent on the image promoter. So it was an offline replication that would happen after image promotion. And the thing that I understood from the code that he showed was it was going to, so we wouldn't have to modify the image promotion, and then OCI proxy was going to be keeping track by doing head requests to the blobs in S3 to check which ones have been replicated to AWS. And so the idea was that Jay's new program he's developing, it's going to come and do the replication of the buckets async, and then once the blobs are available, OCI proxy would detect that and start shifting traffic over there. So my understanding is that we wouldn't have to modify the image promoter, but maybe I am mistaken.
Okay, I mean, that's the case. I'm fine with that because I thought we need to basically add
Sorry,
an extra.
Arnaud.
Yep.
Arnaud, let me jump in really quick since we're also veering into another topic. Let's do the agenda first and then come back to this because it could be a longer discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I just want to add one more thing, right? So having blobs available in S3 is a stream of work being handled by two other individuals. And then the work I want to work on is getting images into artifact registry, right? They're two parallel pieces of work that, I mean, they're not as important as each other, but they still need to be done in the next quarter or so. So the bit I'm driving is this piece, and I need to get a couple of people to approve some stuff. So that's the bit I would like to make some progress on.
Okay, Mohammed, I can probably take a look and we can discuss it offline because I need to understand from the first time I saw the plan, I had misunderstood what you were trying to build, but
Okay.
happy to sync offline and after the meeting and find some
Okay.
time to fully understand it. And yeah, I can jump on that.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yes, there's that big issue that's very polluted from a long time ago.
Would you mind threading something off of that you can link the gist to, or plugging the info into the issue itself?
Okay, yeah, I could open a separate issue and then link it to first and say we're carrying on from here with specific information. Let me grab the issue real quick.
Can you drop that into the docs or the meeting agenda when you find it?
Yeah, I'll have it in 30 seconds.
Perfect. So it sounded like there was another topic we wanted to discuss, but you wanted to keep on the agenda. I think there's one more thing on the agenda, and it was mine, and then we can come back to that if that works. Just wanted to.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I just want to give a quick update. We sent a doodle out to try to gauge interest in new times for this meeting, to kind of go along with our discussion about condensing or combining SIG release and release engineering meetings into just basically one meeting, because we go back and forth on the topics like this quite often. There wasn't a lot of turnout on the issue on the doodles. It seems like 9 a.m. Pacific is the best US time. There were only 5 votes. And it seems like 12 p.m. CEST, which is 6 a.m. Eastern time, is the best time. And again, there were only 5 votes. So there's not a huge turnout on either one of those things. I'm not sure that's enough information to really make a change or decision about meeting times. Would love to hear what other folks think about that. Should we just stick with this time for now and just do the change, like, so we don't alternate release engineering, SIG release engineering, and just go to one meeting?
Let's maybe keep this open for another week, or week today, basically, and get some more votes in. And then, and then if nothing really changes, then we'll just combine the meetings and keep the time, as you mentioned.
Nabarun, hand up.
Hey, I think if we keep the doodles open for longer, we need to change the dates
Yeah.
on the doodle because they expire and
Yeah, I
Doodle
did it
doesn't
like
get
2 weeks
storage
ahead,
limits.
and like we've gone past that time. So I'll go push it further out so that it stays open. Send another email out to remind folks.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Okay, so now we've gone through the rest of the agenda. Do folks want to go back to that topic that we started to broach into? Anybody want to drive that?
Yeah, Stefan, go ahead.
Stephen, by the way. So yeah, so
Sorry.
we were discussing, what were we discussing? AWS, the S3 blobs replication, and whether it needed to be a synchronous or asynchronous process. Right? The last I heard, or the first thing that we were discussing, I think a while back, was that we wanted it to be a part of the image promotion process, treating the treating the S3 assets as first-class citizens in the release process. Since then, I hear that has changed. The proposal has changed. I feel like it's changed shape a few times, so it would be good to get an understanding of where what the current state is.
I can give like an overview of what the things I've been involved with, but I would like some confirmation from Arno if possible. So when the first proposal, well, the actual, I'll cut to the chase to the point where Ben started working on the OCI proxy, and so the first idea that he had was that we should bake into the image promoter the replication to the buckets. And then we started working on that. And so my objection, if you all remember the mega thread on SIG infra, was that whatever we do should not increase the complexity of the as much as possible. Do not try to not to increase the complexity of the promotion process or the time it takes to promote images, as not to add more time to the release manager involved. That was the first one. And then after the thread, one of the things that came up was that it was possible, but it was not desired to do the replication async. So in our view, at the time, replication should be handling of mirrors, which should fall under the SIG infra responsibility. And then the first plan was, okay, we're going to start doing the replication in the image promoter. And then we waited for some time. And then I think now the plan is it's going to be async, and the image promoter is not going to do any replication to AWS. It's going to be done async by another component, some outside of the image promoter. And OCI proxy now has the capability to check if blobs exist in a certain mirror, and based on that, redirect traffic to them or not. But that's my understanding from our side and from me attending the meetings.
Yeah, I think that's it. Basically, currently we have a production bucket right now, and sync with basically the GCS bucket used by kids.gci.io, and OCI proxy in the sandbox environment currently use one of those production buckets. I think Caleb is working on basically make sure we have everything synced over a different S3 region. So now the next part is be able to ensure that we can basically for each release, whatever is a major release and patch release, we have all the blob image replicate on S3. If we can do that and async, it's great because we can basically put that in the periodic pro job and we can start to expose those S3 buckets through OCI proxy. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's some of the tests that Caleb and Jay have been working on, making sure, checking how long it takes for the full bucket replication, making sure it's happening in a consistent and dependable way. So that's where I know the effort currently stands.
Yeah, I put the commit of what Jay is working on about synchronization in the chat if anyone wants to take a look. There's no PR open for it, so we just have to wait Jay open something.
Can we ask that Jay open the PR? It'd be easier for people to track it that way.
I already asked, he say yes, but we just have to wait.
Got it.
Now, artifact, basically, now the artifact registry part is involved because there was a multiple conversation between Ben Doeder and Tim Hawkins and the GCR team to basically shift the existing traffic to OCI proxy. In order to do that, they suggest we migrate to artifact registry because they don't want to integrate a new feature in GCR because GCR is deprecated. That's why we talk about artifact registry at this point. If instead of wait the community and downstream and all the people using Kubernetes to shift to the new registry endpoint, we can ship the existing one to us. And we can absorb that traffic, optimize that traffic. So we basically shift to S3 if you come for S3 or of GCS if you come for another cloud provider.
Yeah, one thing to add to that as well, there's also a cost implication from October. So it would be really nice if most of the images we serve came from artifact registry by then. Driven through the OCI proxy.
Are there any actions that we need to take from this, or are we just kind of discussing state of the world so that everybody's on the same page?
I think one of the larger ones I'd like to see is that PR get opened. It is, it's a reasonable set of changes, and I don't doubt that it will change over time. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but signaling the intent here instead of having it in meeting discussions would be useful.
Also, in the meantime, I think we should also help Mohammed basically look at how we can migrate the staging repo to artifact registry and see how it's impacted the promotion process. Because
yeah, that's right. That's the other part. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because there are two direct impact about the migration to artifact registry. The first thing is we lose the GCS bucket that support those staging repository, and we also need to ensure we do the replication between 3 new artifact registry repository per staging project.
But for container images, we don't need the bucket, right?
No, because once we migrate
the
to
buckets.
once we migrate to artifact registry, I think we're gonna delete them.
Yeah, in our current state, we need the buckets.
Yeah, in the current state, we need the
answer.
bucket.
Yeah,
for images or
for the images. Yeah.
Yeah.
The images. Exactly. So the GCR is backed by GCS. So there are backing buckets for them. So like eventually we'd like to get to the state where we're able to delete the original GCS buckets that back that, but that can't, or that definitely shouldn't happen until we're on artifact registry.
Yeah, but I mean, access to the actual bucket backing GCR is not important for staging, right? Because the promoter itself does not need access to the bucket. It'll do everything just by querying the registry APIs.
Right.
So on that side, and another important thing is it's not one. I'm not sure. I think it's all staging projects are in the same registry, I think, but we should not consider like one registry. Yeah, we can migrate those. I think some of the testing that you did, Steven, confirmed that the promoter will run on.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have because it relies on some extensions of Google Registry. So if those are present on Artifact Registry, then we should be fine just shifting, promoting from wherever we want, from the source, whatever it is, be it container registry, the current GCR or Artifact Registry. It should be transparent for us. We can start testing on a project basis. We can potentially set up one project to start promoting from them, and if it works, it should be easy to move that. On the target registry, it should potentially work. I just need to go through the research that Mohammed did to fully understand, but should be, I mean, just a shift in targets and destinations, but we need to check.
Yeah, with regards to targets, I actually have an open PR that does that for like a small number of range projects, which are linked, but that's not ready yet because the info is missing. Once it's up, we can merge it and actually see what it looks like.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I put basically the idea of the project we can use. I think the first thing we need to do is ensure we can safely migrate from GCR to Artifact Registry for a station bucket. And we do that in the next phase is to do that for all the station bucket. And later we look at Git artifact prod. I think it's safe to go that way so we don't have to deal with some kind of incident related to the production environment. We should firstly migrate the staging repository and see. I think it's going to be fine because the image promoter don't care about the GCS, because once we do that, we now take a look at Kate's artifact prod.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with cross-publishing images to the experimental or something, but I want to be clear that we should absolutely not be using any of the RelEng staging projects for this, because we have infra and processes that are dependent on those being good.
Yeah, that sounds fine as long as I can test it out on like something that's not too important. It's great.
All right, that was a pretty lengthy discussion. We are just about out of time. Any kind of closing thoughts or any actions we want to call out that we haven't called out already? All right. Sounds like none. With that said, we are just about out of time. There's like 3 minutes left. Does anybody have any quick items they want to bring up or suggest for next time?
Doodle, everyone.
Yeah, do the
Make sure
doodle.
you do the doodle.
I'll send another email out right after this. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great rest of your Tuesday or Wednesday if that time already. And have a great week. See you on Slack.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.